Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. Our first hymn this morning has some hand movements. Please rise in body or in spirit. I'll teach them to you. It's called Gathered Here. And the first thing we do is we gather everything together. Gathered here. And there's mystery. And it's like mysterious rain. Good. The next one you gather again. You got it. People are way ahead of me. You're way ahead. Folks they're just ready. They're just ready. So we gather again. Gathered here. Hands together in one strong. Excellent. Goes again. We gather. Gather here. And we just struggle. It's struggling. We reach up. Spirit, draw near. You got it. And gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. One more time. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Last line. Spirit, draw near. And the quartet's going to join me on this next song. This is We Will Be One. Oh, we're not done singing. We're not done singing, everybody. Go for it, Rick.
We would be one, and now we join in singing a hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that our cause of greater understanding of who we are.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Woo! All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Janet Fulton, one of the many lay ministers at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, where we are transforming lives through courageous action and soulful connection. This morning, the lay ministers are sharing their devotion with you and to you. And as our first act of devotion, we want to welcome you, all of you. We welcome you who identify as Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or Buddhist. We welcome you who identify as atheist, theist, or agnostic. Whatever your understanding of the holy, as it moves through your life, you are welcome here. And we are devoted to you. Your non-binary beauty, your genderqueer beauty, your trans beauty, your gay and lesbian and bisexual and heterosexual love is all welcome. Your Black identity, Indigenous identity is cherished and honored here. Your neurodiverse self is cherished and welcomed here. This is your place. We are your people, and we are devoted to you. So welcome. And now I'd like to welcome Lay Minister Ellen Beatty to light our chalice. Let's all say the chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
Our story this morning is The Three Questions, based on a story by Leo Tolstoy, written and illustrated by John J. Muth. There once was a boy named Nikolai who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. I want to be a good person, he told his friends, but I don't always know the best way to do that. Nikolai's friends understood and they wanted to help him. If only I could find the answers to my three questions, then I would always know what to do. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? What is the right thing to do? Nikolai's friends considered his first question. Then Sonia, the heron, spoke. To know the best time to do things, one must plan in advance, she said. Gogol, the monkey who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, You will know when to do things if you watch and pay close attention. Then Pushkin, the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, You can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to keep watch and help you decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, a coconut is about to fall on your head. Nikolai thought for a moment. Then he asked his second question. Who is the most important one? Those who are closest to heaven, said Sonia, circling up into the sky. Those who know how to heal the sick, said Gogol, stroking his bruised noggin. Those who make the rules, growled Pushkin. Nikolai thought some more. Then he asked the third question. What is the right thing to do? Flying, said Sonia. Having fun all the time? Laughed Gogol. Fighting, barked Pushkin. Then the boy thought for a long while. He loved his friends. He knew they were all trying their best to help him answer his questions. But their answers didn't seem quite right. Then an idea came to him. I know, he thought. I will ask Leo, the turtle. He has lived a very long time. Surely he will know the answers I am looking for. Nikolai hiked high up into the mountains where the old turtle lived alone. When Nikolai arrived, he found Leo digging a garden. The turtle was old and digging was hard for him. I have 3 questions, and I came to ask your help, Nikolai said. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? What is the right thing to do? Leo listened carefully, but he only smiled. Then he went on with his digging. You must be tired, Nikolai said at last. Let me help you. The turtle gave him his shovel and thanked him. And because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was an old turtle, Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and rain burst from darkened clouds. As they moved towards the cottage for shelter, Nikolai suddenly heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been injured by a falling tree. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house and made a splint for her leg with a stick of bamboo. The storm raged on, banging at the doors and windows. The panda woke up. "Where am I?" she said. "And where is my child?" The boy ran out of the cottage and down the path. The roar of the storm was deafening. Pushing against the howling wind and drenching rain, he ran farther into the forest. And there he found the panda's child, cold and shivering on the ground. The little panda was wet, scared, but alive. Nikolai carried her inside and made her warm and dry, and then he laid her in her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. The next morning, the sun was warm, birds sang, and all was well with the world. The panda's leg was healing nicely, and she thanked Nikolai for saving her and her baby from the storm. At that moment, Sonia, Gogol, and Pushkin arrived to make sure everyone was all right. Nikolai felt great peace within himself. He had wonderful friends. He had saved the panda and her child. But he also felt disappointed. He still had not found the answers to his 3 questions, so he asked Leo one more time. The old turtle looked at the boy. "But your questions have been answered," he said. "They have?" asked the boy. "Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig my garden, you wouldn't have heard the panda's cries for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time that you spent digging the garden. The most important one at that moment was me, and the most important thing to do was to help me with my garden. Later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby, and the most important thing to do was to take care of them and make them safe. Remember then that there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is the one you are with, and the most important thing is to do good for the one who is standing at your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in this world. This is why we are here."
I'd like to invite my fellow lay ministers to join me in leading the movement prayer this morning. And we'd like to invite you to rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able. We're all here. First, we honor the spirit of life. We embrace the gift of the Spirit. We bring those spirit into ourselves with gratitude, and smile and breathe. We share those spirits with others. We remember to be present, honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present. This time we'd like to invite children 5th grade and on and under to join their preschool or their creative workshops this morning. And you'll find those in the hall down on the first floor. And as the children are recessing, I invite you to greet your neighbor, particularly someone you haven't met.
Bright morning star, arising. Bright morning star, arising. Bright morning star, arising. Day is a-breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear mothers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? They are sowing seeds of gladness.
When Taryn announced that devotion was our theme for the year, I was unsure how to connect with this concept. I imagined a nun kneeling at a dim altar with streams of light illuminating her prayerful hands. I thought of silent monks or a fasting Buddha. I even thought of Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta. Hopelessly devoted, blind devotion. None of it resonated for me. I thought that UUs were too skeptical, even cynical, for devotion. Sure, we're committed, but devoted? We believe, but preferably after some scientific proof. Our faith can be enthusiastic, but within reason. We're generous, but we do like to see the fine print. We don't baptize, we sprinkle. I began to wonder if perhaps we hold back too much. Are we missing something, just dipping a toe in? I love my faith and UUCA, but am I devoted? I gave thought to my commitment. Every Wednesday night, I show up at choir practice, leaving work unfinished, driving through horrible traffic, often running late due to my persistently unfounded hope that ideal driving conditions will occur. Despite this unpleasant beginning and lack of dinner, making music with my friends fills my heart and soul. I do hate getting up early on Sundays for practice before singing in 2 services, but in the end, I am filled with something I can't put words to. Recently, I tried to make friends with my sister. I had a 3-day Soul Summit conference at UUCA, I told her, and there's a pre-planning meeting. I'm taking off a vacation day off work to participate. The following 3 days, I have a lay minister meeting and a UU Wellspring gathering, and then choir practice, of course. The following weekend, I have worship followed by interweave. Maybe next weekend will work, let me check. You do too much, she protested. Well, my job does get in the way, I laughed. Seriously, she continued, you're overcommitted. You need time to rest. Am I wondered? It is true that a nap sounds nice, but what would I give up? The music that gives me joy, the connections that warm my heart, challenging conversations with people who energize me, the ineffable feeling of growing my soul in a place of hope and possibility. I am not overcommitted. I am inspired and connected. I am fully immersed in this loving activity we call our UU faith. I am, in fact, devoted.
let us put hands on hearts. Feel the heartbeat, that connection to life. Breathe in peace. Say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love can heal the world. At this time, we hear the joys and sorrows of this congregation. We hold Margot Dixon's family in our hearts. They are inviting all who knew her in the congregation to her memorial service on Wednesday, July 24th at 6:30 in the UUCA Social Hall for the service. Barbecue and internment in the columbarium. Please RSVP to the link in next week's weekly update. You are invited to say the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning. If you're at home, invite you to write their names in the chat. Speak or write their names into this holy space now. May all beings find connection. May all people find comfort. May all of us find ways to be more loving with one another. Spirit of life, love eternal, we rest in holy gratitude. We surrender to a mystery beyond ourselves, asking forgiveness for our mistakes, those times we have been selfish or thoughtless. Breathing in and out, we offer grace. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. We honor our earth, supporting and sustaining our lives. We breathe in, opening our hearts to wonder for just one moment, feeling that deep connection with all beings. Let us calm our bodies and our minds. We breathe in peace, and then we exhale. We relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the silence.
Find us stillness, hold us stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit,
Good morning. You know, I've loved the lessons that we've taken from popular culture here in this sanctuary. Barbie, Mr. Rogers, and so many more. So today I'd like to talk about one of my favorites. I want to take you back to the 1993 movie Groundhog Day. It stars Bill Murray as a cynical, egotistical TV weatherman who travels with his support team to cover Groundhog Day celebration in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. For those of you who've never seen it, Bill Murray hates his job and can't wait to get out of town. He's surly and mean to his colleagues, and they load up the van to head back. But there's a big snowstorm coming, so they return to Punxsutawney, where he's forced to spend another night in the same B&B. But when the radio alarm goes off the next morning, we hear the same thing we heard the day before. A disc jockey honking out, "It's cold out there," and Sonny and Cher singing, "I got you, babe." Bill Murray gets up and he goes downstairs and he relives the day before. The town is gearing up for Groundhog Day again. It's February 2nd, all over again. And he encounters all the same situations. From then on, no matter what he does, he always wakes up in the same bed at 6 a.m. and it's Groundhog Day again and again. And we laugh as Bill Murray tries to figure out how to get out of this endless loop. He plays pranks. He uses his repeated day opportunities to seduce women. He even finds out he can drive a car head on into a train and still wake up in his bed on Groundhog Day. There are hilarious scenes of him repeatedly getting out of bed and destroying his clock radio. But the last segments of the movie show a transformed man. He has endeared himself to the townspeople with his kindness. He catches a boy falling out of a tree at the same time every day. After repeatedly ignoring a homeless man who is destined to die that night, Bill takes the man to the hospital and tries to save him. He has become so devoted to this community that he is the most beloved person in town after only one day. And it's only after this evolution from self-absorption to devotion to his fellow human beings that we finally see him waking up on February 3rd. So, why have I chosen to share this particular piece of popular culture? It's a good comedy worth watching again, which, by the way, you can do every Groundhog Day when several of the cable channels play it again and again for 24 hours. But underneath the silliness, I believe there's a profound message. By the end of the movie, Bill Murray has mastered French, become a musician and an ice sculptor, and he redeems himself. And we are forced to ponder, how long did this man stay in this endless loop before he found his redemption? The screenwriter, Danny Rubin, says he imagined the character reliving the same day for thousands of years. The director, Harold Ramis, tells us that after the film came out, that Buddhists, yogis, Jesuits, and fundamentalist Christians all assumed the director must be one of them because the film captured each of their philosophies so well. But aren't the questions raised in this movie right up our UU alley? So I'm asking the question this morning, what can we learn from the story? Bill Murray had an eternity to reach to full devotion to humankind. Of course, we don't have eternity. We have one lifetime to become the person that we aspire to be. Bill Murray's character at the end of the movie becomes finite again. He will age, he will die, and time will move on. But now he has the keys to use that time well. And we too are seeking those keys. We too look to transform ourselves from being a prisoner of our time and place to mastering our time and place. In other words, to make every day count. I can look at my own life as a similar journey. I started out as a young man. I was devoted to my career and family. I frankly didn't think too far beyond the challenges that handed me each day. I didn't ponder the meaning of life. I just lived it, and lived it well. I felt fulfilled. But somewhere in middle age, I began a transition from the person I was to the person that I am today. It's been a slow but steady journey from a person who puts himself first to one who tries to find ways to direct my devotion to greater causes, to do what I can to make the world just a little better for all of us. And I indeed am still a work in progress. But I'd like to believe that I'm more kind and less judgmental today than I was in my youth. So, just as Bill Murray found redemption when he devoted his energy to things beyond himself, when he renounced selfishness for benevolence, replaced sarcasm with sincerity, and let go of rugged individualism for teamwork. So I believe it can be with all of us. If redemption comes to us, it will be through acts of love. And we're more effective working in the company of like-minded individuals. The philosopher and futurist Marshall McLuhan says, "There are no passengers on spaceship Earth. We are all crew." So, as we travel this road together, let us pledge to support each other in our devotion to honoring that mysterious connection between all living things. Let us remain devoted to doing what we can each day to make our little corner of the planet just a little better. Be grateful for this place where we can question, grow, and share. Devoted to our quest to improve the lot of humankind, let us journey together, proud and humbled to be part of one crew. May it be so.
Devotion is a word that covers many things. When I looked up synonyms for devotion, I found many, including faithfulness, trueness, staunchness, steadfastness, constancy, commitment, adherence, allegiance, dedication. Devotion, like many of its synonyms, sounds kind of old-fashioned in today's cynical culture with the lingo of texting shorthand and pop culture speak. But is it old-fashioned? Is it about old-fashioned values? I think not. I think devotion is a feeling people long for. I think devotion is a cousin to belonging and connection and contributing. And for me, UUCA has offered an opportunity for all of these: belonging, connection, contributing, and devotion. I also know that what we spend our money on is a major indicator of what we value. What are we devoted to? What are you devoted to? What do you spend your money on? After our survival necessities like home, groceries, and medical care, what do we spend our money on? Eating out? Entertainment? Travel? An electric car? Children? Grandchildren? Pets? How much to UUCA and to social justice? Does it match your values and your statement of what you are devoted to? Today's offering will be shared by UUCA with Nicholas House, whose mission is to help families experiencing homelessness, becoming self-sufficient by providing stable housing and addressing the root causes of their homelessness. Their devotion has put more than 13,000 people on the path to self-sufficiency. I ask that you check your devotion meter today and give a little extra in the plate or online to UUCA and to Nicholas House. Think of it as one way you can demonstrate your devotion to connection, belonging, and community. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
This song is a setting of one of Robert Frost's greatest poems, Choose Something Like a Star.
Please join me in the dedication of the offering.
To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we call community. We dedicate our lives and these, our offerings.
Devotion. Let's take a deep breath and sit with that word for a moment. How does it resonate with you? I imagine that devotion hits many Unitarian Universalists like some other words do, like prayer and church and theology, a wounded word. I know when I was first told that devotion would be the theme of this service, my mouth contorted a bit. probably in my mind more than in actuality. My inner response was similar to what Jennifer described earlier, although Hopelessly Devoted played in my mind more positively. And here I am this morning to talk about it. When I read the definition of the word devotion, I was able to breathe a different life into this wounded word. I can think of many things that I'm devoted to: my family and motherhood, my life as a vegan, and Unitarian Universalism and UUCA, to name a few. I show my devotion to each of these in different ways that have changed over the years. I believe that being a vegan is one of the ways that I show devotion to Unitarian Universalism through the seventh principle: respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are all a part, for instance. As I reflected on this topic over the last weeks, I've thought about the ways that I have wavered in how I've shown or practiced my devotion to Unitarian Universalism and to UUCA, especially after becoming a mother after an earlier miscarriage. It took some time to adjust emotionally and to determine how I would practice my devotion to this new life who was entrusted to me for a while. During that process, which is ongoing as my child Gree's needs change and evolve, my relationship with UUCA and the devotion felt there was put on hold. When I was pregnant, I left the choir, which was my lifeline at UUCA at the time, because I was so tired during those late rehearsals. And as I was coming back out of the labyrinth of motherhood, I was at home. This was before the time of our amazing online services, which I think would have been a saving grace for me at that time. Although I wasn't at UUCA much in the early days of Gree's life, my devotion to UUCA was still there in the background for me. In his book, Let Your Life Speak, Listening for the Voice of Vocation, Parker Palmer says, before you tell your life what you intend to do with it, listen for what it intends to do with you. Now, he's talking about vocation here, one's calling. And I believe that it speaks to our devotion as well. I see calling as being inseparable from devotion because, to me, our devotion underlies our vocation. In the years since returning to UUCA, after Gree was born, I became a lay minister. It was something that had called out to me for a while, and there was a call for new lay ministers, and my husband Nathan said, I think you should apply for this now. And he was right. Additionally, it was time to return to the choir. I'd told our music director, Don Milton, multiple times that I was hoping to return soon, and some other choir members, Gerald Robeson, kept asking me when I'd return. So I did this last year. When I read Parker Palmer's words, they resonated with me because I thought, here were times when my life was telling me what it intends for me, and I've said yes each time. I opened myself up to the blessings, the messages, and listened when that part of myself said, yes, this, now. To me, it's similar to that part of me that brought me to motherhood when I'd spent my entire adulthood prior to that believing I wasn't going to be a mother and didn't want to be. And when I had my miscarriage, I didn't think this isn't meant to be. Rather, I thought, this isn't the right time. In May, after a service, I explained to Gree that I had a meeting, and Gree said, why do you have to go? You don't have to go. You can just come with us now. Balancing my devotion to being Gree's mother with my devotion to my spiritual journey and to UUCA has been a work in progress. Helping Gree to spend more and more time away from me and as homeschoolers, we spend a lot of time together, is an ongoing process. As I model taking time for me and others in our community while expanding Gree's community as well. It involves explaining how it feels to do these other things and likening it to how grief feels when participating in homeschooling and other events with friends. Each decision I make to increase participation in service at UUCA feels like the answer to a call, fueled by the love, loyalty, and enthusiasm I feel for this place that filled my heart the first time I walked through the doors in April of 2007, knowing nothing about Unitarian Universalism. I think it's important to point out that I didn't necessarily jump at things when they first came up. Many of you know that lots of opportunities come up often at UUCA. My passive interest in becoming a lay minister began several years prior to finally applying. When each new opportunity came to my attention, I gave them some thought and looked deep inside for the yes, this. I felt similarly when I decided to return to the choir. At the time, I was in another local choir, and I had to choose. My heart sang when I decided to return, and continues to do so when I think about returning in the upcoming fall. Today, when I think about devotion, I think about the feeling of urgency in my heart about the choice I'm making that lets me know that my life is telling me what it intends for me to do. And currently, for better or worse, I'm hopelessly devoted to you.
All the lay ministers for being so brilliant this morning. We love you. Thank you to the quartet as well. Let us rise in body or in spirit and sing together the fire of commitment. From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion need to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
As we go forth this morning back into the routines of our daily lives, let us remember that to lose ourselves in service to others is to discover our own lives and find our own happiness. May it be so.
There's where they are. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous joys. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul and our future can begin. Go in peace, everybody. Have an awesome week.